side.
Woman on man, cis or trans, welcome you all to the Let's Go Jam. Lift both hands, wave them like this. Do like Tommy Smith, gon' clench your right fist.
Show the world love, stand up for the peoples. Every walk of life just wanna be equal. Black mothers of children that been killed by guns. Say his name, Alan Blooper.
Alan Blooper.
Hands up, don't shoot.
Don't shoot.
Count to
Count
your
to your
job.
job.
Serve and protect, don't murder for the mob. Our people pay the wages for the money you take. Recognize humanity's in front of you. Hey,
Hey.
no more killing, no more bad cops. We all got the right to live free, so back up. To those of us that can give it up, we need it.
What's up, family? This is Cat Brooks. For those of you who don't know me, I'm an actress, activist, radio host based in Oakland, California, and this is Cattin Off with Cat Brooks. Is a 4-part curated interview series for BAMBDFEST International 2025, produced by the Lower Bottom Playaz, the oldest Black theater troupe in Oakland, California, along with the Black Arts Movement Business District Community Development Corporation. Here on after being called BAM CDC. If you all knew what time it was, you would know what a miracle it was that I just got all that out of my mouth. But so it's a month-long festival, August 1st through the 31st. It's plays, it's panels, it's interview series, stage readings, etc. You can learn more at bambdfest.com. Today's guest is Chris Berger, MC, educator, advocate, digital literacy guru. What did I miss, my G?
Oh, lover. Lover of family, lover of community, lover of music, lover of art, lover of our people.
Spreader of that love, for sure.
And lifelong student, another one.
So tell the folks about the track that we was listening to as we made our way in here.
Ooh, man. Kenny Brooks featuring Zoe Ellis, Mike Blake, myself, and that is my vision of how we could be and where we are going. And so, I think we had a group called the Band of Brothers, and we had a song, and I was like, if you're sitting on the fence, then your ass is sore. And so, choose a side. Where you at? Like, get busy with the work and, kind of own up to what you're about. And if you see a world like I do, come on, let's go. And I think we painted a beautiful picture of what we could do. And, planning our food, educating the youth, protecting our families, protecting our community, standing up for the people, standing up for what we believe in, and doing the good work, doing service.
I've always wanted to ask you actually about that song that I haven't to date. Is that 2010-ish?
That song? Choose a Side, that was Alphabet Soup 2022. So we put that out 2022. We wrote it in 2021 and put it out 2022. That was in between Love Phenomena Volume 1, the EP, and then Dark Side of the Boom.
So Alan Bluford was murdered not in 2021, 2010, 2011, somewhere in there. And I will, of course, correct the date if I was wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm not because I worked on that case. Most folks in the town, when they're bringing up cases of state terror, talk about Oscar, right? Murdered on January 1st, 2009 on the Fruitvale BART platform. Your connection to Alan?
A friend of mine, Khalil Fantauzi, who I just ran into in front of BAM House, because I think he and his brother had a film playing at the BAM Fest last Saturday. We just ran into each other, and he was running for mayor of Berkeley at one point, and that must have been around that time. And he said, come down and support me at some spot. And I met Adam Bluford, his father, at that same spot where Khalil was talking to these folks. It was on Telegraph at like Alcatraz or someplace. And Adam told me everything, told me the story. I started doing research, and I said, look, this is horrible. I can't imagine what you're going through. I'm an artist, and I'd like to, keep your son's name alive in the art form and in the song, and, do something for him and send it to you, get the word out, show love, give strength, and all these things that I could do as an artist. And it kind of came out in different forms. It wasn't that part that I wrote for Choose a Side. I wrote like a verse on a different song, and I didn't think that he deserved just a verse. And so that song we may have put the song. I don't think we did. It never sat right with me. It never sat. Things that inspire you for you're artists, right? And those of us that are artists, your art has to come out when it's right. And if it's not right, for all the different reasons, and for me, it wasn't enough respect to the family, and it just didn't sit right. And so for that song, it did. And it also, we talk about Alan and Umami Flavor, which is more along the lines of a Chuck D type Public Enemy thing. Just, it's like an 80 bar, full, no choruses, everything, just boom, slap them in the face type thing. And so I think we're giving light to Alan and keeping his name up. And I think Geraldine liked it. So
he did.
It did its job. Really, I mean, it's like, I started, as I read about the case and was like, damn, this dude shot himself in the foot. And then you just going to believe a cop, right? It just was like, and for me, who had experiences like that with the cop, different because, they just drew the guns on me. But I was a second away from being a story. And so I experienced that fear of death, that moment. And just realizing they could just say what they want. And because of them having a badge or whatever, everyone's going to believe them. And I just can never imagine the pain that a family would go through, that has gone through and went through and is still going through from that. They're the little king, As we look at our grandchildren and our nephews, our nieces and our loved ones, and they're our babies. And the society sees them as whatever they see them as fodder. So that really was something that hit me in the gut. And everywhere I looked, everything I read about young Alan he was just a beautiful young man. I got to walk with his homie and just watch the fight and walking home and just doing the thing. And you get these nasty, sick devils. And I'm describing them as I see them. And they did what they did and got away with it. And it's just a shame.
I mean, he kind of. So I want to back up some because we're talking a little bit of inside baseball. So May 6, 2012, Alan Bluford and his friends went to go watch a fight, and then they made a call for Alan Sr. to come pick them up while they were waiting. An unmarked police car with no lights, unmarked car with no lights,
right, and jumped out on them, right?
And jumped out. And Alan and his friends did what you do in the town at night when a car with no lights on was up. They ran. Miguel Masso, who's the cop that murdered him, shot him in the back. To CB's point, he then shot himself in the foot and said that Alan had done it. Gun nowhere near Alan. Alan was absolutely unarmed. And he got away with it in terms of he didn't go to jail, but he got run up out of Oakland. For sure.
He's still breathing.
He is still. I'm gonna leave that alone. Right? What you trying to set me up, Chris Berger?
No.
They wait for me. They wait for me to say shit like that. Right. I got her.
Right. So that's why I say, like, the pain of the family is like, okay, I never get to hold my young king again, and you get to go breathe in the mountains of wherever you go, and you just get to lie, and people believe you, and they brush it under the rug, and we're left to pick up the pieces. And
what's really shitty about Miguel Masso is that he had bodies on his jacket when he came here from New York, and then he moved to Gilroy or somewhere around Gilroy. And the way that we found out he was there was Mama Geraldine Bluford, who you've heard Chris reference is Alan's mother, got a call from a young woman who said, my grandfather was yanked out of a car and beaten by this cop. And when I Googled his name, yours came up. It was Miguel Masso. So he continued beating and battering stuff. That family was able to get him to forced into retirement. But yeah,
he's still getting a check.
Yeah, that we're all paying for.
Yeah, these entities get no love at all.
All right, and given the current political climate that we're in, things are going to get worse, not better. I could stay here on this topic and your music forever, but I actually brought you on to talk about something we haven't talked about that much in prior interviews, and that is digital literacy. Which is a passion of yours. A passion of yours. But before we get into like what you do in your role in the community and your role in life, tell people what is explain what is digital literacy?
Well, there's a lot of books that'll definitions that you can get off of the computer or wherever, but I have a saying that I actually made up, and I think I was kind of primed to be a pretty adequate teacher, digital navigator, or someone that could show someone how to feel comfortable with technology. Because about, what is it, 2025, 10 years ago, I was that person. I was in my 40s, had to switch careers. I was a lifelong cable guy. I always played music, but I needed a hustle so I could do my thing. And my thing has always been music. I love music. I love creating music. I love playing live. I love performing, all that stuff. So I found myself in a situation where I needed to continue my hustle, but I got hurt on the job. And so I kind of got thrown into taking some classes in downtown Oakland at the Stride Center, which teaches our community tech skills to get our community jobs in Silicon Valley. They did back then. And it was more on what you call the network admin side, because when you're looking at technology or in terms of workers, you're looking at the engineering programmer coder side and the ones that make the computers work, right? The hardware, the wiring of it, the Wi-Fi, the signal. And the network admin deals with software and hardware, whereas the coder is doing code, right? And so they were trying to get us jobs on the network admin side. And I'd learned a lot in 1 year, 2016. I actually got the bug at the Berkeley Adult School through Alfred Miller when I took Microsoft Office. And it was just something I was like, oh, that's how it works. But I saw where everything was going with society. Everything was going online. And if you didn't know it then, when I knew it, or when I first figured it out for myself, it had been happening for years, but we all learned it during COVID. Everything went online. You wanted the bank, you couldn't go to the bank. You have to go online. You wanted to do some medical thing, you can go to the hospital. You had to do it online. You wanted to go to school or go to work, you had to do it online. For the first time, people started going, oh, Zoom? What's Google Meet? What's Microsoft Teams? What's all these different platforms? Oh, I'm trying to send this song. Musicians heard about this earlier. I'm trying to send this art. Well, your email will only send files that are 25 megabytes or less. Right? So you started learning about how to store things in the cloud. What's the cloud? Well, the cloud is just a data center or a server farm, right? And so you get into all these terms and stuff that were just foreign to me. And so for that, I was like, oh, I could be pretty good at telling people that don't know how to use computers what it's all about, because it's how you frame it. And I learned this from Alfred Miller over at Berkeley Adult School. He made it fun. He didn't make me feel like a dummy, when I ask questions. And that's one thing I learned how to do in my life, is just ask as many questions. So here's my definition, because Cat, you do know me. I have to give you the preface. So I define digital literacy as assisting people in accessing the river. And the river in Spanish is Rios, R-I-O-S. So resources, information, opportunity, and services online. And so I make it easy for people. And I say, look, you want to go somewhere, you need a car, right? What's the car? The car might be, the computer and or your browser, right? Your browser. What is a browser? Chrome. Chrome is a browser. Safari is a browser. These are all ways to bring us the internet. What does every car have? Has an engine. So each one of your browser, whether it's Microsoft Edge, whether it's Safari, or whether it's Chrome, it all has a search engine. Because if you don't know the name of the website, you have to put keywords. That's called search engine optimization. To those keywords, I say, Northern California professional basketball team, blue and gold, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Jonathan Kuminga. Those keywords are going to bring you to the Golden State Warriors, right? So what's a search engine? Well, a search engine could be Bing. A search engine could be Ecosia. For every 45 searches on Ecosia, they plant a tree, right? So you could use DuckDuckGo. You know which one I'm not saying? Google. Because Google's synonymous with search engine. Everyone says Google it. It's a verb, right? So I want to big up things like DuckDuckGo, because Google steals all your information and sells it to third parties, right? So what I like to teach when I'm teaching my students, I like to talk about what's really happening when we put all our business out there and we think, oh, they're giving it to us for free. Why do you think Gmail is free? Because they're taking all our data and sending it. Nothing's free. I don't, and so we can manage our data. And so that's part of whole digital literacy for me. There's also data literacy, right? Because people read something and go, oh, I guess it's true, right? Because they read it, right? So data literacy is like critical thinking for what we're seeing online. I used to deliver the paper back in the 70s and 80s, Oakland Tribune and the San Francisco Chronicle. I'd be on my roller skates throwing papers out, right? And I didn't know that. We figured it was in the paper, it must be true, right? And then you're realizing that, well, the advertisers, the editors, and all these different entities are pushing stories, right? Remember, if it bleeds, it leads. Same thing with the local news, right? Still. And so we have a generation of people reading or watching something on TikTok or Instagram, and they go, oh, it's true, it's here, right? And so I think it's so necessary. I'll say 10 years ago, even before then, but now more than ever, for us to be critical thinkers when it comes to this digital technology and know who owns it, who's funding it, and what's happening with our data and what we're opting into while we're using these so-called freeware, free software, free programs. So that's kind of my thing, is to help people along. But I'll say this. I'm trying to spark something in the student that helps them be that independent learner, because they're going to pass it on. And during that process, I tell my students, I'm going to learn from you. And so I think one of the things I say is HA Tech, YTD, and HA, I love abbreviations and acronyms. So HA is always remain hungry and humble. Tech is when you're getting an email. Do you trust the person? Are you expecting an email? Do you know that person? So that's TEK, and that has to do with people being spreading malicious software. And then YTD is you're in control. Take your time. Don't trust it. And if people realize they're in control, you don't have to use the defaults, right? If you buy a product, you don't have to use their default search engine, their default browser. You can change it the way you want. Use DuckDuckGo. Don't use Google. DuckDuckGo won't sell your information. Take your time, which means, oh, something popped up. Oh, click it. You got a virus. Click, right? That was a scam, right? And don't trust it, right? I say don't trust it and verify. Some people say trust but verify. I don't trust anything. It's really about taking your time and then, second opinions. Just like someone in the medical field who's like, I'm going to get a second opinion. You told me this, doc, but I don't know. So I think it could be an advantage to many people, and we see the good stories. But I also think that there's a lot of danger out there, and that's just add human to the mix, and it's always going to get salty.
I want to tug on the inequity thread, because I think, CB, that a lot of the folks that are probably listening to this take a lot of what you just said in terms of terms, what they mean, et cetera, for granted, right? It's just sort of in our lingo, in our language. If it's not, it's hard to hold a certain kind of job, right, in today's society. So I think my next question is, and I just said it, but I want you to say it in your words, like, who takes digital literacy for granted that they have it, and for what communities is there a gap?
Who takes digital literacy for granted in terms of classes, or
that we have access to it?
Oh.
That is just a right that we have. And well, here, maybe if I tell you this, this will help you answer. So I was at a gathering about digital literacy that you spoke on a panel at not too long ago. And I heard some things that shocked me. And for me, who spends my entire life studying disparity and equity, I was shocked that I was shocked. But I was stunned listening. I believe the woman's name is Sunny. Listening to
McPeak,
listening to this woman talk about this campaign that T-Mobile was launching and they were supporting to get people access to the internet.
Yeah.
And then listen, like in Oakland, right? Like down the street from where I live. And I don't think that that's in our consciousness, that people don't have ways to get online, that people don't have the equipment to get online. Right. And so that's where I'm going with the inequity and disparity piece.
Yeah, that's interesting, because some of the numbers are Black and Latino youth spend more time on social media than their white peers, and Black youth are 3 times more likely than white youth to have limited or no digital skills. And then when we're talking about equity, let's talk about access to the internet, or neighborhoods, or internet service providers, or cellular providers whose footprint doesn't go certain places. And I'll tell you a story about it's East Village out in Kansas City, Missouri. I met the brother that helped start it, William Wells. Look him up, East Village. And Google came to Kansas City back in, I think it was 2012, and says, we're going to wire up Kansas City all fiber. Fiber back then, that was 2012. I'm like, oh my, because I was a cable guy back in the day, right? And I pushed high-speed internet in West Hollywood in the year 2000, and it was 3 or 5 megabits per second. Right, we're up to a gig now. So like you're slow if you're getting 100 right now. I was pushing 5 in West Hollywood 25 years ago, and I made so many sales. I was a cable guy. I made so many sales. And so that tells you how far we come since 2000 and 2012 to do fiber. That means you're getting a gig, which is really, really fast, right? And so that time, Google wired up all the communities except for District 3, which was the Black community. Why didn't they wire up the community? And so what this brother William Wells did is they started buying data and they wired up their own community. They created their own company. They wired up their community, connected to Google's fiber, and sold internet in their community and provided internet in their community. So I think if we're not getting this information, if you have the T-Mobiles of the world, and that was, I think, Project 10 Million, when they were giving out the one that you're referencing at the Oakland Tech Exchange panel that I spoke on, and Sonny McPeak. I think I brought it up because I'd heard about it. And they're like, if you have a child K through 12, we will give you a hotspot. And what they did, and this is the insidious thing about these companies, is they said, we'll give you a hotspot for your family, and we're going to cap your data at X amount per month. And I forget what it was, but a 2-hour movie in high def will take 4 gigs of data. They were going to give you 5 gigs per month for your homework. Now, the nature of a teenager is you don't say, let me do my homework. Okay, Google worksheet. Okay, I'm done. You're going to be like, ooh, what's that on TikTok? It's like the next shiny thing. So you're going to run out of your data, and then either they're going to throttle you. And let me put this in plain English. That device that they're giving to you for free to do your schoolwork, that you're automatically going to watch a movie or watch a short or watch a YouTube or watch a TikTok, you're going to run out of the ability to use that thing past a week within that month, right? And then it's like the rat and the drugs they used to give back in the day, right? You're going to keep on hitting the pellet to get the dope. And so they were giving these devices that would enable people to get online, but they'd limit how much online they could get. And Sunny actually corrected me that night after that. I spoke about that. She said, yeah, that thing's over, Chris. And I thought it was going to, so they made it, T-Mobile made it look like maybe in some neighborhoods, maybe it rolled out in some neighborhoods first, right? We didn't hear about it, right? And Kat, you and I live in the same neighborhood. They've been talking about Oak Wi-Fi for years now. I'm like, where's this Oak Wi-Fi? And so when you talk about equity and accessibility and how come our people aren't, I almost said fools ain't hearing about it, right? Because I'm a fool and I ain't heard about it. I'm like, where's it at, right? Why am I getting Sonic in my neighborhood and you live real close to me and you're not getting Sonic in where you're at? And so that's the conference that I met that brother at William Wells. It was talking about how we're going to get these companies to provide at an affordable price, affordable options for high-speed internet, because no one can exist on just low speeds these days, and it goes to the devices as well. And let me say one more thing. When you're talking about digital literacy, a lot of the times they say digital literacy, there's 3 legs of the digital literacy stool. There's Wi-Fi capable devices. There's a network, right? So the network could be like T-Mobile hotspot. It could be a wired connection to a modem, or it could be Wi-Fi. It could be public Wi-Fi or private Wi-Fi, like AT&T brings fiber to your home. My favorite company, Sonic, brings fiber to your home. Xfinity brings internet. So Wi-Fi capable device, like a tablet, phone, or laptop or desktop. A network, right? A company bringing the network to you. And then the education, right? Teaching someone digital literacy. But I added the seat of the stool, and that's continued tech support, because I think, to me, that's one of the most important things. is to continue to be a support for lifelong students like myself, but for some of my students. It's like my students are regarded, from the grants that I work with, they're regarded as graduates after 8 hours of instruction. You can learn so much in so little in 8 hours. You need somebody, and I have tech mentors that I can call when I have questions. But just like, people used to say college, you go to college to learn how to learn, right? I think I'm trying to get people to be curious about tech. My most important thing is I want them to be safe. I want them to know the things like security.org, which is a website you could check to see the strength of your passwords. It'll tell you how long it'll take to crack your password. Have I been pawned? It'll tell you if any of your email addresses have been part of a breach. Virus Total is a great website. It'll tell you if any file or URL, a URL is just a website address. It'll tell you if it's malicious. And so if you download something, you could put it into this website, Virus Total. Before you open that download, it'll scan it and say, oh, that's malicious. Or if you're going to go to a website, it'll say that's malicious, right? And so you get these tools that you can put in your toolbox that makes it safer as you go out and do things online, because we don't have a choice for some things anymore. It's been put online. So if we're going to be online, it doesn't make sense anymore to say, just stay offline. Well, if I have to do this thing for the DMV and I want to drive so I can get to my job, it has nothing to do about being online. There's a gate that I have to get over there. So, we want to try to even the playing field for our community so we could spread those skills. And it is hard to get out, to do that outreach, to get people engaged. It's a challenge.
What about getting people to follow protocols, like that extra step? We are the society of quick, fast, right now. And you're telling people, we'll do this first. You finding that sticks with your students, or they got to learn the hard way?
Yeah, well, I used to say I'm a non-drinker, right? I used to say when I did drink, what would I be willing to do after I got arrested because I got a DUI? Would I left that car there and walked 5 miles? Yeah, it's pretty easy to say back after I spent the night in North County. Sometimes I got to learn the hard way. And, I don't want to be, I'll tell you so, but I just try to spread that network and say, if you want to do that, know that you really risk it. So it's called low-hanging fruit. I talk about another thing that I like putting in the toolbox are a VPN, a virtual private network, right? And so if I'm in, let's say, Kinfolk's coffee shop, downtown Oakland, right? I'm in Kinfolk's coffee shop. It's $4.55. I need to pay my PG&E bill. Well, best practice is if I'm going to pay my PG&E bill, I'm going to get a check or cash and walk into the PG&E office, pay them, get a receipt from them, walk away with my receipt, and I know I paid my bill. Okay, if I pay it online, I'm going to make sure I'm at home and I have an Ethernet cable connected to my laptop, connected to my modem, because it's not on Wi-Fi, which is a radio wave. It's connected through wire. No hackers can hack into to see what I'm paying with my credit card. That's the second thing. If I'm on Wi-Fi, let's say I'm at Kinfolk's coffee shop, I'm on their network. It says Kinfolk's Wi-Fi, right? And I go, oh, and it says, yeah, okay, Kinfolk's Wi-Fi. I join the Wi-Fi and then I pay my bill. I could spoof that network. Spoofing a network means I could turn a hotspot that's just a regular hotspot, Chris's Wi-Fi, and make it say Kinfolk's Wi-Fi. And then I could wait for everybody to jump on my network. So I could be jumping on someone else's network. What that means is while I'm in that coffee shop, using what I think is the Kinfolk's network, somebody's stealing my credit card information that I'm paying PG&E. So I say, use a VPN. Well, what virtual private network and what does a VPN do? If you have to pay that bill at $4.55 on a Friday because they're going to turn off my power, I get on the Kinfolk's network because it's public Wi-Fi. I enable a VPN. All a VPN does is encrypt my network traffic. All it does is hide what I'm doing online. But if I'm using ExpressVPN, CyberGhost, private internet access, ZenMate, Intego virus, all those are owned by Cape Technologies, which is an Israeli company, which is stealing all our data, and they're selling it. And they own the Cape Technology, they own all these periodicals that big ups these VPNs. So my point to say that is do your research on a virtual private network. Know that it has a no log policy, which means if I'm being private, a VPN just means, hey, I press this thing, I'm safe. I'm done doing the financial transaction, press it again, it turns off, I was safe. So you could crack into my network and see what I'm doing, but it doesn't make sense. It's encrypted, right? And the reason I brought up the Kim Folks Wi-Fi is if I'm in Pete's Coffee or Starbucks, you have to see what's called a captive portal when you join somebody else's network. And a captive portal just says, hey, welcome to our network. Agree to the terms and conditions. And so those are the type of things I try to teach my students to say, these are the things that are happening, right? I should have never been paying my bill at $4.55 on a Friday at a coffee shop, right? So I become that low-hanging fruit. And so when we're talking about, hey, just wait until most of the times it's not going to happen. But for that one time that it happens, you're like, damn, they got me. What would you have been willing to do? Let me give you another indication. Last August or September, maybe it was July, it was a year ago, it was the National Public Data Breach. I think it was, NPD breach. If you look up npdpentester.com, everybody was affected. Everybody. I was affected by this data breach, right? So sometimes it's not what we do. It's with the companies that we signed up. They got hacked. AT&T got hacked. I'm sure I worked for AT&T at one point, right? So all these companies, even if you're as careful as you can be, they're getting hacked, right? And so with the National Public Data Breach, all of us got hacked. What the thing to do was, at that point, was freeze your credit. So I put out a newsletter to the 30,000 people of the nonprofit that I work for. I put out a newsletter every month, and I said, hey, this happened. Here's how do you check if you've been part of this breach, and this is what you do. And so I had to get I've never bought a new car in my life. So I had to get a new used car back in January. I love the car, right? And I'm sitting down at the dealership. They're like, oh, there's an issue. And then I'll go, oh, yeah, I froze my credit. And it was good because I saw firsthand that no one could have opened up any big expense on my information because I froze all my data. I keep my data I keep my those accounts frozen. I froze my credit reports. If I ever have to do something, I just unfreeze them for the time that they need to do something, and then I freeze them because that's a best practice for me. And I encourage other people to do it. Freeze your credit. Now someone can't open up a mortgage in your name or a car loan in your name or some big purchase. Same thing with credit cards. People go, oh, they got me. I got a link that said I had to pay this. I didn't pay my tolls. And they got this spam text, that says I didn't pay my tolls.
That's happening right now, which I guess.
Yeah. Or USPS, right? Yeah. And so, you don't trust and verify. You find a number that's not on the text that came to you. So that's ishing. There's phishing, right? There's vishing, that's voice phishing. There's quishing, that's QR code phishing. And that's smishing, we were just talking about, SMS text, smishing. Everyone knows phishing, that's email, right? But now you got vishing, voice, quishing, which is QR codes. Don't just go around scanning QR codes. All these things are gateways to our lives. And I laugh because it happens to all of us. It's going to happen to me. And it's like, I'd rather put up things that I'm not that low hanging fruit. But we're in the swimming pool. Things are going to happen to you when you're in the swimming pool. I don't know if that's the right analogy, but we're in the game, right? Yeah. What do they say? The game is the game. Game is the game. So, yeah.
Talk to us, CB, about the vulnerabilities of another population you work with, and that's our elders, right? Who for whom, right, like all of this, like you and me, like we grew up watching this evolve, in a way. But for our elders, it's like, for a lot of them, it's like, what is happening, right? So fear, yeah, around some of it, even.
I have such a love for our elders. I think when I got it, so when I went to the Stride Center in Oakland in 2015 or 16, they had a social enterprise arm at the tech school. And it was Mr. Willie Lockett, my mentor in tech. Those of you know Sabir Lockett, his father. I love Willie. He really took me under his arm and his wing and taught me a lot of things. And so we had a contract with the it was Department of Aging and Adult Services in San Francisco. We managed 64 senior center labs in San Francisco. And I remember in Bayview Hunters Point, there's George Davis Senior Center. All these old Black folks walking around. They had like an African store. They had like a pool table, a little lounge. I was like, man, I need to get on the list for this, right? At the time, I was like, I think I just turned 50. I was like, man, I can get on the list now. I'll give you this the spot. And they had a computer lab, and I'd be up there, and they come and talk to me. Hey, youngster. And I'm like, hey, sir. Hi, ma'am. And then we had some other places that were like, they were this bedridden. And, it's like reverting back to childhood, for some of our elders. Like they're getting to that age where they're very dependent physically, cognitively. And then they're like looking at, like, I'm old enough, they're like young blood, but they know I have respect, that they could talk to me, but I'm young enough that I get some of this tech stuff. And so we speak some of the same languages, and they want to be heard. Half the time I'm working with our elderly population, or our elders, they just want time, right? Everyone's moving so fast, even their kids, right? Their offspring. And I'm the dude, I represent their sons, daughters, and all that stuff to them. And I just patient with them. I'll sometimes work with our elders as a lesson, and we don't even talk tech. They just want to talk, right? And then I'm always looking for that turn. And I said, yeah, speaking, I'll just get a nice little segue into something tech because I want to give them something. But most of it's time. But I think they're really getting left behind. They didn't roll out this tech thing. They didn't think it out, and you can see that with AI now. They're just going.
We're going there in a minute. Don't jump ahead.
It's a mad bubble. And I think what's important with this, with bringing up this subject, and especially with the elders, is finding those. Okay, I say my net worth is my network, or my network is my net worth, and my favorite network, and it's someone that got certified in CompTIA Network Plus, and learning how signals flow through radio waves and electronic and light. And this is fiber and all these different things. I always say the most important network is the human network, because you could do all this stuff online, and then you get these genius computer people, and then they can't deal with someone in the flesh. They don't know how to talk to another person. They don't know how to look at tone of voice or nuances, or reading body language, right? We still have to deal with that. And so I think working with the elder population is being that tech mentor to them, but also learning from them. I get some of my seniors that are like, oh yeah, I came from tech, I do this. And they come up to me first day of class. I said, you are going to be one of the other teachers. They're going to depend on you. I need you. And then, so if you have all this, and when you talk about my net worth is my network, you have all these tentacles out there reading all these articles and doing these different things. I get so many students informing me of things. And that's why I say, stay hungry and humble, a life student, a life learner, adult learner. I think it's important to really stay in touch with the network. And I get to teach them this Friday. I'm excited. I had some last week, and I have some this Friday. And I get up for it. I really do. I'm blessed with that.
We could have ended on that high note, but you know me. I imagine that there are people that specifically prey on our elders
They do. Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So if there's folks here that are taking care of their parents, their grandparents, what would you tell them to look out for on their grandparents or parents' behalf?
Yeah. So when I said hot tech, YTD, let's focus on tech. When you're getting an email, and when I say tech, I mean TEK. When you're getting an email, do you trust the person the email is coming from? Are you expecting an email from that person? Do you know that person? And one thing, when there's a way, and really, a lot of people want to say Google it. I'm going to say DuckDuckGo it. When you say Google it, you're going to go to Google and look up something, right? Look up how to see if the email is malicious, how to find a spam email, how to identify phishing. There's all these ways to identify. Look who it's from. I got one yesterday. They look real. It said American Express. I'm like, oh, it said someone broke in your account. Click here. So I said, oh, that's interesting. Let me check out this email. I took my time, right? You're in control. YTD. You're in control. Take your time. Don't trust it. So I'm in control. So I'm going to look at it. It's like American Express. Okay. Oh, let's look who it's from. So I go to where it's from. You know how to look on that one line where it says where the email's from. And it said some dude from somewhere. Well, they've gotten so good, it says from American Express. But the bad ones that come out mostly just some dude from somewhere. Oh, that's not from American Express. Well, I'm not going to click any of your links. What I would do in that situation, whether it's from Bank of America, Wells Fargo, who I bank with, Beneficial State Bank. If it's from Beneficial State Bank, if it's from Comerica Bank, whatever bank it's from, I'm going to look at the email and go, okay, I'm going to go to one of the paper, the actual mail that I get from my bank, Beneficial State Bank, look at that phone number, not the one on the email. And then call them and say, are you trying to get in touch with me? Or better yet, I might walk to the bank. So there's ways we could check to see. Don't trust and verify. Look at the email, take your time. Also, if you're doing financial transactions, make sure you're wired into your modem. Your modem is the one with all the lights on it. Look on the back. It looks like an oversized phone jack. Right? It's called Ethernet or RJ45. You put it in your laptop and put it in the modem. Now you have a wired connection. It's more secure. It's not only more secure, it's more stable. You won't freeze because you have a stable connection. That's much more safe to do your financial or anything that you want to stay safe, because people can hack through radio waves, right? There's a thing called a packet analyzer. The way data goes from A to B is through packets. Dear Cat, I love those headphones. Could you buy me a pair? I'm writing you an email. Here's my credit card number. Well, the packet of information goes, Dear Cat, that's the first packet of information. I love your headphones. Here's my credit card number. A packet analyzer could grab those packets of information and analyze it and look at all that. They can't do that through a wired connection. So there's all these different things that different tools we could use to be safe, so that we're not the low-hanging fruit. Now, the greatest hackers out there could go, yeah, if they wanted to, but why are they trying to steal my $200 in my bank account? They're trying to steal the $2 million over there, or someone's cryptocurrency. Back to VPNs. If I don't have a wired, a modem that I could plug into, if I'm just using like where I work, affordable housing, we have community Wi-Fi that is free for a lot of our residents. There's nothing for them to plug into. That's when you would use a VPN, but the person wants to use a search engine like DuckDuckGo or Ecosia, right? And a browser like Brave. I'm trying to big up, or Proton. I'm trying to you can use a VPN like Proton. I'm trying not to say Google and Chrome, because most people do that, and then the rich get richer. Use some of the smaller ones that are protected and they won't sell your data. DuckDuckGo is a great search engine browser that you can use. Ecosia is a cool search engine that you can use. And look up a good VPN, a virtual private network. All it means is I download this thing and I press connect when I'm going to do something private. When I'm done with the private thing, I press disconnect, right? But you research your VPN. Don't use ExpressVPN. Don't use CyberGhost. Don't use private internet access. Don't use ZenMate. Don't use Intego antivirus because they're owned by Cake Technologies and they're thumbs down. So I use TunnelBear. It's free. I use Bitdefender VPN. It's free. I use this one called Fastest VPN. I paid $40 and I protect 5 of my devices for a lifetime. I don't know how long that'll last. Actually, the one I use every day is Proton VPN. I have about 4 or 5 VPNs and I use them for different things, because the reality is most of us are on Wi-Fi. But knowing you're on Wi-Fi, know that your data is in the air. And if you use something like, what is it? Surfshark? Is it Surfshark? I think it is. It's one of these, but it's a packet analyzer and they could just steal your data through the air. But most of the time, no one's looking at us. But someone like you, Cat, they're always looking at you.
Which is why the reference to killing pigs was like, hey.
Right. Yeah. Someone's
they're looking at you now because you
yeah.
said it, not me.
God, he's an evil entity. And,
Miguel Masso is evil. We actually, for folks that weren't around Oakland at the time, and then I do want to get into AI with you, we made wanted posters of him and put him all over Oakland. And folks learned his beat. And every time he would pull somebody over, there was a crew of folks ready to call him a murderer, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
Yeah, we tortured the hell out of him. All right, CB, AI. I have been, and I've talked to you about this, I've been running from that shit ever since I first heard about it. I am still running away. from AI. It scares me. And now the headlines are bananas. We've got people leaving their partners for AI spouses.
Oh my.
With that tragic story of that young 13, 14-year-old kid that killed himself to be with his AI partner. We're starting to hear, tidbits here and there about the impact on your mental and emotional health. We still don't know all of how that's going to play out, but it's here. Yeah, it's here and it's not going anywhere. So how do we navigate this moment?
Here's what I'll say for AI, along with tech in general, is I didn't want anything to do with it. I'm like, but I'm already in it, right? And so my same network that I'm able to go and ask questions for, I had to independently. So where I work, it's what we call a Microsoft shop, right? We're not Microsoft, we're affordable housing, but everything we use, from Outlook for our email, for our presentations. I was building one today in PowerPoint. For our spreadsheets, we use Excel. For word processing, we're using Word. For our AI, we're using Copilot. I'm one of the testers at my organization. So 2 months ago, I was teaching tech classes. It was actually, remember I talked about the stool? I was doing tech support for people that had already graduated, and I welcome new people to come. And I had the 16-year-old come up, and he says, "Hey, can you teach me some tech?" I'm like, "You should be teaching us." And he was the first 16-year-old I've ever met in my whole life that didn't know any tech. He said, "Look, my mom's got cancer. I need to step up and get a job. I need to make a resume." And I said, "Do you know how you want to start?" He says, "No." I said, "Well, I got this AI that I can use right here." And so I went into Word. I used Copilot, which is our AI for Microsoft Word. And I said, "Make a resume, blah, blah, blah." It was so what I'm hearing from most people and what they say when I do the online classes, it's great for a first draft. So then I showed it to him. He said, "This is amazing." I said, "Well, now you're going to start filling these in. This is the first draft of your resume." He just got hired as a seasonal worker at Target. Now he could help his mom who has cancer in the household. So that's a good story, right? I'm so happy for him. So my whole idea and I just put out a newsletter and I said AI part 1. Now I talk about deep learning, machine learning, and generative and all these things. And so I'm talking around it, but I'm not talking how to do it. I'm talking about how to be careful with it and how to identify, giving people tools so they can look up, go to a website and say, was AI used to produce this? Now you could check on your kids' homework, right? Because that's care for our kids. Oh, here's the homework, dad or mom or uncle or granny, whatever it is. Let's just throw it through this thing. Oh, so you used AI. Now we're going to have a talk. We're going to talk about your ability to actually do the work, right? So I take a different approach. I'm very cautious because I want to be out there. Let's take it to what I do. I make music, right? I do words, rhythmic, Afrocentric poetry, rap, hip hop, right? And I do a little singing, a little chanting. I love reggae. I do my chanting, I do my sing song. That's what I do because I couldn't play the guitar. I don't play the drums. I have great musicians that give me music that they make, right? I have some friends that give me some AI music. It swings too much. You can't put a click to it.
What does that mean? What does that mean for folks that aren't musically inclined? What does it mean that it swings so much you can't put a click?
Well, if you got a good drummer, they're going to know the 1, 2, 3, 4. But most beats that beat makers make are beats per minute, 88 beats per minute, 120 beats per minute. You could sync a click track to it, right? But the AI doesn't do that. It swings. AI has what's called hallucinations. And so that's why you're looking at the pictures with the people and they got the 6 fingers or elongated things. There's a lot of scary stuff. That's why I think it's the next bubble. What they say, I'm looking at a bird's eye view of AI where I'm listening to what the godfather of AI saying over here, or Sam Altman saying over here, or this person saying over here. It's going to be a madhouse for the next 15 years, and all these people are going to lose their jobs. And then it's going to be utopia. I don't believe that. I think what our role is as working class people, so I'm speaking to other people like me and you,
Like,
is to learn. That's just how we come from, right? I was a cable guy for 17 years. Then I'm like a blue collar tech guy. That's what I do. I'm very happy. I'm very satisfied that I'm not the others. Choose a side, right? So my role is to spread this knowledge and encourage people. Hey, you're using this stuff. What are you giving up? So if you're using Facebook, these big companies, Meta, Amazon, they're scraping our data to use it for AI. They're using our voice, they're using our images to build their AI models. AI is just a big set of data that they're drawing. They think it's magic, but it's our data they're using. It's my voice. My friend I had an old group called the Mofessionals back from the 90s. We were funk, hip hop, gospel, rock, all that stuff. Live horns, all this stuff. My friend did a song, an AI, in the mode of the Mofessionals. And our singer at the time was Mike Measy. And he was singing this slow song, "Hey, buddy." And the song was about a friend of ours that had passed. And then he goes, "Look what I did." And then it was just like Mike's voice. And he's like, it was like Mike was rambling about this friend we missed. "Oh, and I'll never see you again. And oh, our times are so grand." And I was like, that ain't Mike. Right. Mm-hmm. But it sounded like Mike. But I should have been like, damn, Mike never said you could do that to his voice. Mm-hmm. But every time I post something on Facebook, what do we say? You're in control. Take your time. Don't trust it. Every time we want that app that's free, we're saying yes and clicking that thing. That thing we just clicked said, we could use your mic and turn it on every time we want. We can use your video camera, turn it on every time we want. And then you and I are talking about, hey, Hawaii's cool, Hawaii's cool. And the next day we're getting all those ads for Hawaii. How did that happen? Right? Because they're listening. They're listening all the time. So get a Faraday bag. What's a Faraday bag? Well, you put it, it's like those Dave Chappelle bags. You know, you go to the concert, they make you put your phone in it. I have a RFID wallet blocker. So in my wallet, nowadays people could walk up to you and bump into you in the store, and they just took your money from your contactless card, right? And so my wallet is built of RFID blockers, and so even if someone comes and bumps into me, they can't steal my money. And so these are the type of things. It's all about building up the toolbox. When it comes to AI, while you're looking at that cool thing or creating that thing with all your prompts, take a little time. If you're doing it for 3 hours, take 20 minutes to say into your DuckDuckGo search engine, what are the dangers of AI? What are the dangers of ChatGPT-5? What are the dangers of using Gemini? What are the right? How do I protect myself? How do we protect our loved ones? How do we protect our youth? They're giving up the game. They're giving everything away and so you're going to get what you pay for. I don't want to be it's we're all doomed. I'm not to say, hey, there's some beautiful things that could come of it too. Let's focus on protecting our elders, protecting our youth, protecting ourselves, protecting our community, and build something like hip hop. Because our youth are the ones that are going to build the next beautiful thing. Let's make sure they're protected while they do it. They got the new ideas. I think you and I got some good ideas too.
Couple, maybe.
A couple.
I want to be respectful of your time. I want to give you an opportunity, final words for the folks. And if people want to learn more about you, the music, etc., where should they go?
My final words are more like, So Black Hippies Unite, man. I got a new album out. It's called Electric Black Hippie. I got 4 albums that I did last year. And when I say I mean I and I. So everything's a collective, the Love Phenomena Collective. There's Camp Harris, there's Kenny Brooks, there's Josh Levinsky, my man Mike Blake. You know Mike, we all love Mike. Zoe Ellis, Lady Chi, Sister Sonara, just the most beautiful singer. Dre Marshall, Al Marshall, Jay Lane, all these players. Damian Gallegos produced a lot. Dave Schul produced a lot on Electric Black Hippie. And my cousin EQ, who got the Ohio Players gig, he's on some. Judah Gold, who's in Jefferson Starship, he did some on the new one. There's so many players. Keith MacArthur. So it's not just I and I. It's kind
I love that about you. I'm sorry, I have to interrupt. Every interview I've either heard you do or you've done with me, you run through the whole gambit of everybody. And that is just so beautiful. So many people do not do that. I just saw Shanaka Hodge do it with the release of her Marvel, and she post every day about everybody from the wardrobe person to the person that held the cue cards. I just want to uplift because it's
Angeline Saris, Angeline, our bass player, Dazon Claiborne, Sanford Barnett, Al Marshall, Dre Marshall. Because you know what? I call it like Stone Soup. I'm so inspired. I'm alive because of these people. If it wasn't from Jay Lane set it off. So I had an opportunity to go get sober and clean in the East Coast 16 years ago. In 5 days, it'll be 16 years. Without Jay Lane and Bob Weir from the Grateful Dead, I might be doing something else, and you and I wouldn't be here right now. And I'm so thankful because music created that. And I have a recent line. I said it all started from my trauma in my track shoes because I was a track runner. Track and field brought me to San Francisco State. I was rapping already at the time. I met someone at San Francisco State back in 88 or 87 to put out my first record in 88. And so that was all because of track and field and the trauma I went through in my childhood, and it turned into this beautiful thing. And so just like hip hop, something from nothing, we can make tech nothing into something, just like hip hop. And so those are really the last words. The kicker is I give this music away for free. And because I got a job and I just love to heal people through music, because heal people, no longer hurt people. And so we'll spread this love, protect our youth, protect our elders, and give love and respect.
Where can people go to get the free music, to go scan that OK QR code?
They got to hit you up. Hit me up. Go to lovephenomena.com. Hit us up on Instagram, Insta, Facebook. Hit us up. Hit me directly, charliebravo13@gmail.com. It's all love. I'm out there. Find me on 18th and Linden. I'm in the hood.
We are so not using that. And I was telling you now, not only did you tell people we live in the same neighborhood, now you just told motherfuckers where to find us.
Oh, no. I said 14th and Linden, did I?
I said 18th and Linden, nigga.
Oh, now you know you can't use that. Did you? I did say that. I said on one of the things. I was like 18th and Linden. I came out and breathed there. That's how I be looking at it down the block.
I smile.
I said I get my nails done on Park Street.
Cat? What?
Yeah.
Thank you,
Chris
Chris
Berger. Today. But no. 57, not 47. Come on.
Show the world love, stand up for the peoples. Every walk of life just wanna be equal. Black mothers of children that been killed by guns. Say his name, Alan Blue, for make it real to them. Hands up, don't shoot. Come do your job. Serve and protect, don't murder for the mob. Our people pay the wages for the money you take. Recognize humanity's in front of you. Hey, no more killing, no more bad cops. We all got the right to live free, so back up. To those of us